Welcome back to Politically Speaking with Gene Covison.
Thanks for staying with us. And the topic still on the table this morning is San Diego Unified's Proposition Z, seeking voter approval for $2.8 billion in bond financing for school facility upgrades. Once again, speaking on behalf of the measure, Andy Berg, and in opposition, Chris Cate. And Chris, can you pick up where we left off addressing the points that he was making in response to points that you had made?
So sure, absolutely. Andy was saying that San Diego Unified is no different than the other school bonds that the Taxpayers Association has supported. We've supported 4 school bonds thus far for the November cycle. And I can tell you for a fact that San Diego Unified is nowhere near the level of detail in terms of the programs that the other 4 school districts are asking for. All the other 4 school districts that we've supported can tell us exactly how much they estimate the bond to cost, when projects will be delivered, and how much each of those projects are going to cost individually.
He said there's going to be 150 pages of outline.
Right. It's a wish list. It's a wish list of what they want to do. But if you look next to that, there is no dollar amount there. And this district superintendent has stated publicly that they do not have either the project budgets and timelines. They'll worry about that after the election. Furthermore, he cannot tell you how much this bond is going to cost. He can't tell you how much taxpayers will be spending and how long into the future taxpayers will be spending. He said verbatim, they do not have a timeline looking out into the future of how much Prop Z is going to cost.
You're telling us...
Actually, I did not say that. And as a matter of fact, as you know, the school board the other day passed a resolution not to use these Poway-style, what's called cab bonds that increase the cost exponentially. So we do know what it's going to cost, basically. We know they're going to be 25 to 30-year bonds. We know they're going to be just like your home mortgage, pay the interest as it is. What we don't know, and no other district knows for that matter, is what the interest rate's going to be in 15, 20 years. People forget these bonds are not spent in one day. This is a 15 to 20-year construction program. That's why it's so much money to keep fixing up the schools. And if Chris thinks the other districts know what the interest rate's going to be in 15 years, well, then they have a better crystal ball. And if he believes that, well, that's fine. But, you know, we know how we're going to do it. And he's wrong about not having the projects and the timeline and everything else. All you need to do is look online. Anybody could check me out on that one.
Chris, address this reality, or tell me it's not a reality. The schools are degrading. A lot of these facilities average 40 years old. So what's the fallback?
Right, absolutely. And that's why we understand there are needs. And that's why we have supported school bonds in the past. That's why we supported Prop S in 2008. But what we want to make sure is that when voters are essentially voting with their pocketbooks and their checkbooks and giving the district money, that they're going to be spending those dollars efficiently, they're going to be able to deliver on the promises that they've been giving to voters, and they're going to finish those projects. We want to be able to hold the district accountable, and we haven't been able to do that. We can't do that under Prop S, or we're not going to be able to do that under Prop Z because there is no details at all on how they're going to spend that money. And this is not just $2.8 billion. This is going to be exponentially more than that.
Were the expectations for S too high? Are they unrealistic in thinking
they weren't.
What could be accomplished in a certain time period?
No, the crash of the economy was what was unexpected, so the money was not available. That money will get spent. It's just taking longer to get at it, and we can't get at it unless this bond passes. That's the problem. You know, Chris says it hasn't been spent effectively or efficiently. Prop MM before Prop S and Prop S have completed the projects that were listed on there and all under budget. Prop S is about 10% under budget for the projects completed so far. Again, the bottom line is simply the money's not available because everybody's property taxes have gone down. That's a good thing. I appreciate having lower property taxes, but the money is not available. The public has to ask themselves, for an average of 50 cents per day per homeowner, is it worth improving our schools? We know a big company, AECOM, did a big study for us. There's currently $900 million worth of needs in the school, and it degrades every day. These buildings don't last forever. So you're talking about a $5 billion complex at San Diego Unified degrading at an average of maybe 1.5% a year, adding on to that $900 million.
Projects coming in under budget. The time period is not to your liking. You want to address
It's not just that. It's the priority of the projects. Yes, they've spent money on technology and they built football fields, but they have not done the major repairs and critical repairs they promised voters that needed to be done first. If they say they have, under Prop S, $500 million in critical repairs that need to be done today, and they have spent zero on those critical repairs. Now they're coming back to voters and saying we have over $600 million in critical repairs we need to make. But we know that the money that they are going to be using for this is going to be spent on technology. It's what they've done in the past and what they're going to continue to do in the future is spend money on technology as opposed to those critical repairs that district students need.
Okay. Again, you're talking about a 15 to 20-year program. all the projects will be done. The school board makes a decision as to which ones to do first. There was never an expectation that money wouldn't be available. They decided to do something pretty unique. They decided to think about the children. And they decided to add the technology to the school, and we've seen the school scores go up. Everything else a school district does is a means to the end. The end for the school board should be student learning. What they chose to do was to bring the technology into the schools first because they knew that would help student achievement. I think that's a good decision. When we pass this other bond, we will have the money to do all the needed repairs possible, plus continue that technology, because if we don't pass this, all those improvements will go away.
Gentlemen, we're going to have to leave it right there. Thanks for joining us here on Proposition Z. Andy Berg, Chris Cate.